ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदां। Welcome everyone to this transcendental program of studying Param Dharma, called the Bhagavata Dharma. Currently, we are studying Sri Prema Bhakti Chandrika by Mahashay Narottam Das Thakur. Prema Bhakti Chandrika is a complete package of sadhana. Once an American devotee asked Srila Prabhupada's scientist disciple, His Divine Grace, Sripad Bhaktisvarupa Damodar Swami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj. He was very fascinated to meet His Divine Grace. And he said, because he endeared himself to Srila Prabhupada so much that he was known as Srila Prabhupada's scientist. Where is my scientist? Swarup Damodar. So American devotee was very much fascinated to meet him. Say, what should I do to advance very fast in Krishna consciousness? Then His Divine Grace, Swarup Damodar Goswami, if you want to advance very fast in Krishna consciousness, then you should study and recite Prem Bhakti Chandrika and Pratna prayers by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So that was somewhere in 87, 88, somewhere like that time. And so, but this was revealed to us in 2017. How many years later? Almost 30 years, correct? Yeah, so the year we took sannyas, and then we decided to study very thoroughly and deeply Prem Bhakti Chandrika, and somehow by Krishna's arrangement, by the mercy of the Sri Guru, we came across this wonderful exposition on the subject matter and also the teachings of this Prem Bhakti Chandrika. Basically, the purpose of the scriptures and their study is meant to cause incessant remembrance of Krishna. Smartavya sadatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedhashur etayor eva kinkara. This principle we have discussed many times. Once again, just to remind, just to guide a sadhaka, where does he stand? One can gaze one's own progress through this standard. Sarve vidhi, the nishedhashi, all the things which are to be adopted in the process of performing pure devotional service on this path, and those things which are prohibited, which have to be given up. Nishedhashu, but they serve the same purpose. Same purpose. What is the purpose? To be able to remember Krishna all the times and not to forget him even for a moment. Now, this is the standard set. And Sarve Vidhi Nishedha, they are the means. Vidhis and the Nishedhas are the means to attain that purpose of to be able to remember Krishna all the time and never to forget him. Sounds so simplistic, correct? But at what stage is this possible? You know, we begin with the sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means conscious bhakti. We consciously try to be in a position where to be able to remember Krishna all the time. And consciously try to avoid the things and situations, circumstances which can cause forgetfulness of Krishna. Now, depending on one's consciousness or the development of consciousness, we all have consciousness, of course. Depending on how evolved our consciousness has become with regard to what state of consciousness we have achieved along this standard, to be able to, or yeah, to remember Krishna all the times and not forget him even one for a moment. If one remembers that Krishna is, if one does not forget Krishna's existence every moment, will it be possible for that person to do anything wrong? It would become impossible, correct? If one becomes conscious that Krishna is everywhere, all around me, all around us. But the irony is that although Krishna is everywhere, always, and nothing exists without Krishna's connection. Nothing can exist without independent of Krishna. Krishna is everywhere all the time. And still this consciousness which we are discussing, ultimately to achieve the highest level of the evolution of consciousness, that was the subject matter. How is it possible forget Krishna even for a moment? But this irony continues for almost all of us until we attain the platform. We become blessed with such evolvement of our consciousness that we are able to remember Krishna all the time. That is called subconscious bhakti, subconscious stage. Subconscious level is called chitta. That's why when our devotional fervor reaches, devotion basically is the subject of faith. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kai Sudrida Nishchay. Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krit hoy. Whatever we want to accomplish will be accomplished as far as our karma cycle is concerned, life after life after life after life. We will be forced to, we will be put in a particular time, place and circumstances, and the force of our karma or sanskara will guide us inevitably. Who will create the, who will take that trajectory or the karma trajectory? Who can free us or change that karma trajectory? Only the Mahat Sangha. Only the association. And association at what level? Again, association is a very general term. Sangha. But when it becomes prasanga, prakrishta rupena sangha with a Mahat Purush, then you are then even our karma trajectory of life, it can become completely uprooted, and one can go full force. Sri Prema Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purushaya Param, on the way to Krishna. That's why I say Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijat. But Sang is a very critical thing. Sangha becomes Sangha can cause our Shraddha or the faith to evolve or go deeper. That's why I call Chitta deep. That's why the Antakaran, Mana Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar and Chitta, they are connected to our the level of faith we achieve. If our faith is mind deep, that is general faith, whichever we associate, whosoever we associate to, we develop some kind of comfort in believing something which we have been told. So in the mental level, one level of faith. When we grow up, when our intelligence, human being is very much attached to one's intelligence. No? So when our faith is uh, very, when intelligence, when our faith, when intelligence is involved in our accepting something or not accepting something, then that very faith or Shraddha becomes, is called Nishtha. Now is further the Sangha develops, correct? As because when our intelligence is involved in believing something, then we accept those things. We start accepting those things. At least agreeing with them. Whether we adopt them in our life or not, it depends on the circumstances and depend on some other factors. Because many times we believe intelligently certain things to be good and still we don't adopt them. And certain things bad, still we don't give up. So merely agreeing or disagreeing with intelligence is not sufficient to benefit us until our interest, our ego becomes involved. That yes, I want to do this because this is right. This is right. This is intelligence. But I want to do this is ego involved. So when ego is involved, then our personal insistence comes in the picture. That's when the faith becomes evolves to the level of Shraddha, evolves from Shraddha, Nishtha to Ruchi. Ruchi requires personal insistence. But even this, our personal insistence could be in multiple things. We may have Ruchi in multiple things. That's why Ruchi cannot be incessant. One may be interested in certain things. Then one needs a break, correct? But as with our personal insistence, we adopt certain things. We like, we relish and cherish. And in one of the things, one wants to do it all the times. That means his faith means attraction or involvement, participation, whatever. That faith has gone chitta deep. And the chitta deep faith is called asakti. So just imagine when a person becomes attached to someone or something, it becomes impossible to forget that person or that thing. There is no need to consciously try to remember the person or the thing. One inevitably, unbeknown to him, subconsciously, without even reminding, without any notification. One is able to remember. What a wonderful feeling that is, correct? Because it has captured our subconscious. And now we don't have to try to be conscious. We are conscious all the times. On the path of pure devotional service, same principle. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam, the message is very, very clear that when same kind of attachment, when one develops to a divine thing or divine person, that one is not able to forget that thing or that person. Divine means connected to the divine couple. Our definition of divine is divine couple or anything deeply, incessantly connected or attached to the divine couple. This material prakriti, the Tribunatmak realm, is not attached to the divine couple. External affair. That's why different translation, bhinna prakriti ashtadha. Bhinna means it has two meanings. Separated or different. You know. So which definition is from tattva point of view? Because in tattva nothing exists independent of Krishna. So nothing can be said as disconnected from Krishna or separated from him. Because separated from Krishna nothing can exist. So bhinna prakriti is a different. Krishna has Swarup Shakti, Antaranga Shakti and Bahiranga Shakti. And Tatastha Shakti. So Tatastha Shakti has the capacity. In human form of life, we are all Tatastha Shakti. In human form of life, we are endowed with a special intelligence. Because in human form of life, Krishna is a reward. Reward whereby one is given the capacity to be able to understand what is the purpose of this creation, why we do anything, why we live even. And in that search, in that inquisitiveness, it is possible that he will search after ultimately Krishna and become fully Krishna conscious. So we must target especially in this Raganga Bhakti, everything is very focused, very targeted. Nothing is casual. In sadhana bhakti, in the beginning stage, because the struggle, drag, and our consciousness is so much in 10 directions, so many attractions, temptations, and our aspirations and our force of our sanskaras, which make us do this thing and that thing, rather than doing the only thing which Bhagavatam describes, Tasyaiva heto prayate ko vido na labhyate yad pramatam uparyadha tallabhyate dukkhavadanyatah sukham kalena sarvatra gabhira ramsa. Narad Muni tells Vyasadeva to instruct human society this message, because other messages, they are so diluted. But Bhagavatam, so many instructions on dharma and what is right, duties, right, wrong, all these things. They are for the people who are so much engrossed in the three modes of material nature, for them to raise them to the platform of sattva guna. But how much time, how many lifetimes one has to go from one stage to another? That's why direct message. Tasyaiva heto prayateto kovido. Kovido means intelligent person, and which human being does not think that he or she is very intelligent? Everybody thinks, correct? So the challenge is, if you think you are intelligent, then the intelligent person should endeavor only to that end which has not been accomplished. So although we may have been given human form of life innumerable times, but something has remained unfinished. So in this present life opportunity which has been given to us, and we should treat this present opportunity as our best opportunity since eternity. Since eternity, we may have become sadhakas at many level, but we couldn't reach the finish line, couldn't transcend this realm of three modes of material nature, could not attract the ultimate kripa of the divine, and to become situated under the shelter of the Swarup Shakti. We are situated in Bahiranga Shakti. Shelterless we cannot remain. Either we are sheltered by you under the clutches of three modes of material nature, material prakriti. But in human form life, we are given the option as a reward by Krishna, because in innumerable lifetimes we have served indirectly some purpose in beautifying this material creation. Sometimes as an animal, insect, tiger, or vegetable, trees, different species, we have indirectly served Krishna, because Swarupta hai in our true identity. We cannot not serve Krishna. Is it possible for the living entity, no matter whether one is demon or dog or devata? One cannot not serve Krishna. But the option is given him to come in a direct service of Krishna, because when one becomes educated or can be educated in the purpose of this creation and the plan of Krishna, then one will want to, out of gratitude, will want to be part of Krishna's internal, under the shelter of internal potency. And that appreciation for Krishna will make him so blissful that he cannot think of anything but to become in direct association of the Supreme. So with that purpose in mind, to to attain our shelter in the internal potency, or to become an associate in the supreme abode, eternal blissful abode of the Lord, especially Braja Bhakti. Our focus target is not general. Within Braja Bhakti, within the realm of Braja, Golok, Vrindavan, Braja Bhakti, Gokul, we are very much specific, especially the, in fulfilling the Manobhishta of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has come to give which was never revealed for such a long time. Anarpita Charima Chirat, Swabhakti Shriyam, the highest devotion to oneself. And what is that? That stage where, where we become the need of Krishna. That kind of fortune. Radha Dashyam, to attain the shelter as a confidential maid servant of Srimati Radharani. Because only at that stage our Krishna consciousness reaches the pinnacle, the acme, the highest. Says, because that's where we become the need of Krishna. Can you imagine? So this is just the concept, and only to reach that fortune which Mahaprabhu has exposed, and he wants that everybody joins to attain that fortune. So is a in the process, the very purpose of our focus in studying this Prema Bhakti Chandrika or any scripture should be fulfilling the manobhist of Sriman Mahaprabhu, not only individually, also collectively. Individually, if one is committed, and if we have association of those who are individually committed, then we can also collectively become committed. Because association, sajatiya shaya sangha, this is very powerful. Sajatiya ashaya, those who carry the same aspiration in the heart as others, no? Snigdha, and they are very lovingly disposed towards each other. Sadhu sangha, appreciating the person we associate as sadhu. Sadhu means the purest devotee. And fourth is swatovare, thinking of him as so much more advanced than oneself. Then one can progress very fast on this path. So where were we did 19, and today we will study the 20th. So in the 19th, we discussed basically the subject of how to engage the Vidhi Vakya. And within the Vidhi Vakya, then the Vyatirek also, Nished. How to engage the 11 senses in the service of Krishna. And we had wonderful examples of stalwart devotees, Ambarish Maharaj, and all the instructions of, and basically to become engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam, Bhaktir Uchyate. Rishikena, Rishika means the senses. Through the senses, Rishikena means through the senses. Rishikesha, Rishikena, Rishikesha, Rishika Isha, the Lord of the senses, Krishna. The serving Sri Govinda, the Lord of the senses, through the senses. Then, and also one more thing, without worshipping other gods and goddesses. This is so essential, critical, correct? And for those who are brought up and raised in Vedic culture, so-called Vedic culture, this distraction or this entanglement is very strong in our families and different places. Okay, and so through this, without worshipping other gods and goddesses, because Krishna deserves our exclusive devotion, correct? Krishna takes care of everything. He's Sarva Deva Maya. By worshipping Krishna, everyone else's worship is taken care. We have discussed that point also. So, without worshipping other gods and goddesses is called Ananya Bhakti, or exclusive devotion. And not aspiring for anything else but the pleasure of Krishna. Okay, I will exclusively worship Krishna to fulfill my agenda or to fulfill all my motives, because Krishna says, Ananyas chintayantu mam ye janaha paryupasite tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. So this is a recruiting shloka of Bhagavad Gita, or we can call it in one viewpoint. It's the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna captures the attention of all the conditioned souls. Take shelter of me exclusively. Think of me all the times. Only me. Then I will take care of all your needs. I will provide. Yoga means providing, connecting. Whatever you lack, whatever you need. And Kshema means I will also protect whatever you have. So that kind of promise when Krishna gives, then conditioned soul, what else he needs? Okay, I will exclusively worship Krishna. So there is one aspect. Second aspect is that then also desiring nothing else but anukullena Krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. Only desiring, first exclusive worshipping only Krishna, and that is also for only to bring joy for him, to increase, enhance his joy, That is Ananya Bhakti. So persons who wish different fruits, but conditioned soul, especially dharmic people, adharmic, we are not talking about that. Dharmic people, those who are apparently following Vedic cultures and duties within the Varnashram Dharma. Dharmam to Sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam, which is established by Krishna, for uplifting, for upliftment of the conditioned soul, that eventually, if they follow, because human being has natural tendency to be dharmic. A human being has natural tendency to be systematic, to be disciplined for a higher purpose. Because for human being it is very simple, very easy to discriminate between the behavior of an animal and those who are not animals. Civilized society is for the human beings following some system, duty, or some. So accepting the authority is very much prevalent in the human society. So in that way, there is natural tendency to follow dharma or injunctions. Dharma is given in the scriptures, as long as, and of course, they are not to deprive him of anything. If the religious principles are followed to deprive the natural tendency for sense gratification, then people will revolt. But people do want to follow some system. So in that, so those who adopt or follow the Vedic culture, certain rules, regulations come. And there is a possibility in a disciplined life to respect others, worship the saintly people, worshipping gods and goddesses and all these things. So a person is ready to accept authority of those who are renounced and those who are devoted fully to God and God's purpose. So, because they, in that following or the adopting Vedic culture system, one gets the opportunity to associate with the saintly people. And amongst the saintly people, if one comes across to associate with a pure devotee, and if he becomes so impressed, because pure devotee will expose only the highest interest, our highest. He will talk about the highest interest of a human soul, and speak about his potential. What is the highest perfection of our human potential? In that way, now he is ready. If he becomes impressed by it, he becomes very fascinated by that proposal, or that thing, that there is something, this is the highest possible. So who wants to remain ordinary in this material world once the knowledge is given? But irony is that since eternity we have remained ordinary this far, thus far. Now we have the opportunity to come out of the curse of having remained ordinary for so long. How a spiritual master used to say this. He said the biggest curse of human life is that our life remains ordinary. And what did he mean? He meant to say that we don't remain progressive. So on this path of pure devotional service, what we are discussing, it is inevitable. You know, it is inevitable to remain progressive or not, or to not remain progressive. What is the right way of saying? It would be inevitable to remain progressive, because until we attain that, what Mahaprabhu has exposed, until we attain the shelter of Srimati Radharani, we haven't got anything as yet. So we cannot but be ever progressive only, moving forward and forward and forward, forward and forward. And we must not allow ourselves at any stage of our journey, like that competition between crocodile and what is that, rabbit. So rabbit almost reach the finish line destination. Just before that, he said, "Oh, that fellow is far behind." So, and he took rest without reaching the finish line. So he kept sleeping, and the turtle or crocodile, he just crawling slowly he reached, because he remained ever progressive until he reached the destination. Whereas the rabbit was running very fast, when thinking, "Oh, I have come as if I have reached the destination." No, we cannot afford to think like that rabbit who may have run very fast, almost reaching the finish line. But he said, "Oh, why to worry? No, we cannot remain, become, we cannot afford to become sluggish or complacent, or as if we have made it. No, we almost made it is also not safe enough. We have to sustain that same fervor of Sri Prema Bhakti Yogena until we are transferred to that realm by the sanction of Yogamaya. The freeing, getting freed from the clutches of the domination of Mahamaya, and getting accepted by Yogamaya, who will connect us to the fulfillment of our heart's divine aspiration of attaining the shelter of Srimati Radharani is a choicest maid servant of hers. So that's why we must found that exclusivity. So when Krishna says, but ultimately, one shloka in Bhagavad Gita 245, we think, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavajuna Nidvandvo Nitya Sattvastha Nira Yoga Kshema. Again, the Yoga Kshem come together. Only two shlokas in Bhagavad Gita. But here Krishna is giving the opposite. He said, don't depend, become free from this expectation of me, is Krishna providing Yoga Kshema. Atmavan. Atmavan bhave. Appreciate that I'm always with you. Krishna is always with me. And if we know the glories of Krishna, will we end up asking Krishna, take care of my this problem or that problem like this? You know, Krishna is the very source of whole existence. He's the source, he's the essence of whole existence. And he is always with me. Will we ever treat Krishna thinking when he will provide this for me, that for me? That was for the those conditioned souls who were not connected to Krishna. To cause Krishna connection, initial connection, Krishna makes that promise. But when he is saying something addressing directly to Krishna, there are two kinds of instructions in Bhagavad Gita. General instructions through Arjuna, but there are certain instructions which are directly Krishna is telling to Arjuna, addressing his name with his name. They are the primary instructions. So when general principle he's telling that if one takes exclusive shelter of me, I will take care of his needs and provide protection of them. But when he's telling Yoga Kshema to Arjuna, he said, Nira Yoga Kshema Atman, complete opposite. Our relation is not like that. So become free from this Yoga Kshema expectation also. Nira Yoga Kshema Bhave, Atmavan Bhave. Realize that I am always with you. So, and as we study Krishna's glories, Krishna's opulence, Krishna's sweetness, all these things, do you think our relation with Krishna will be so distant that Krishna, I have been exclusively worshipping you, and you will take care of my household, you will take care of my this situation, that situation. We become so much involved with Krishna that we can think of nothing but Krishna's joy. Everything else becomes so removed from our consciousness. See the transformation? So that kind of transformation we are aspiring through this exclusive or ananya bhakti. So why Krishna calls that worshipping different gods, persons who wish different fruits, maybe worshipping different gods with faith, but they are actually worshipping Sri Krishna but indirectly. Avidhi purvakam. What is the vidhi? Again, these same words come. Vidhi means to be able to remember Krishna all the times, correct? The purpose of vidhi or the arrangement, the sadhan is to attain the fulfillment of our human potential, correct? So in exclusive worship of Krishna, that is taken care of. But in the worshipping of the devatas, people are not aspiring to fulfill their human potential of attaining the highest platform in accordance to our Swarup as the eternal servant or eternal maid servant of Srimati Radharani. For that sake, the worshippers of demigods, devatas, they are not worshipping to that end. They are worshipping, wishing different fruits, Although, because Krishna is Sarva Devamaya, so the worship is, as Krishna said, Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhukta cha prabhurevacha. I am the enjoyer of all the fruits, all the endeavors, all the yajnas. Yajna means endeavor, all the efforts, all the worship offering. Krishna says, I am the bhukta. And I also Prabhu. Prabhu means whatever fruit in return, that is also depends on me. So Krishna is. But because those who worship devatas, devatas also parts, parts and parcels, parts of Krishna. So worship is worship or offering reaches Krishna. But the worshipper, what happens to the worshipper? Because he is not aspiring to attain Krishna Prema, So he remains deprived. So since there is no rule or no vidhi here in attaining prema, which is the ultimate purpose, fulfillment of our human potential, that's why they are not worshipping according to the rules. Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvita tepi mameva kontaya. Tepi mameva kontaya. They also worship me only, but avidhi purvakam. But not according to the rules. That is, There is no rule not to become. There is no arrangement. There is no aspiration. There is no focus. There is no motivation to become free from the material life or to attain the Supreme Lord. So in the worship of the demigods. So if those who worship, okay, Krishna also, demigod also, there is also. That means then Ananya Bhava is violated. Ananya Bhakti is very, very essential. That will definitely not only free us from worshipping our tendency, our attachment to worship so many others, and also our hankering to fulfill our ulterior goals. We will not only exclusive worship Krishna, but also worship exclusive Krishna only for his, exclusively for his joy. That's the point. So after this, towards the in conclusion of last shloka, Nautam Das Thakur says, Arajato upalambha vishesha sakali dambha dekhite lagaye vado vyatha. All other activities are simply signs of pride, seeing which I feel great pain. All other activities developed by mankind within this world are a waste. All other activities means activities which are part of the pure devotional service, performance of pure devotional service. All other activities developed by mankind within this world are a waste as far as the soul is concerned. Yes. So same principle. Tasyaiva hetu prayatita ko vido. An intelligent person should make endeavor only to that end which has not been accomplished as yet. We have performed many pious activities. We have gone up, upari adha, many times up to Brahma Lok, to Patal Lok. We have go up and down, but we did not make endeavor to reach that end, the pure devotional service, to attain the supreme abode. We could not free ourselves from the entanglement of this realm. That's why all other activities developed by mankind within this world are a waste as far as the soul is concerned. Dharma is the Kam Moksha. They are not the Purusharth of the soul. They are the Anatma Dharma, Anatma Purusharth. Only to cater properly this body's journey, or soul's journey in this body through this body. But the need of the soul is prema, prema pumartho mahan. Moksha is not a hankering of a soul. The bodily hankering is not the hankering of the soul. That's why dharma, artha, kam, moksha, they are anatma purushartha. Atma purushartha is only prema, love. All other activities developed by mankind within this world are best as far as the soul is concerned. None of these activities belong to his constitutional duties. All are activities for the imaginary material body and are nothing else but deceptions for the spirit soul. It causes so much misidentification because the engrossment or temptation to think of oneself as this present material body through which only we experience all the experiences, all the perceptions. But what the person, the soul needs, we were never educated. So in that regard, those who remain uneducated about the real interest of the soul, they simply cause pride of one's bodily status. Why to be proud of something which is temporary? If one wants to have pride, one should have pride of being Krishna's, being Srimati Radharani's. So, seeing such false pride of the conditioned souls simply gives great pain to the heart, definitely. And now, what are those drawbacks or the things one has to, like in the process of evolving from our conditioned state where we have adopted, we have become engrossed with so many vices and so many tendencies and so many aspirations, and how much we are stuck, we have no idea. How much engrossed we are in the three modes, how much engrossed we are with the enemies of the soul, which have taken over our body, and body has become like a cage, and the soul is stuck there. Although soul remains untouched by anything material, but still because it is encaged by this bodily consciousness so prominent. So how can the soul find its joy in this material realm? Dehe boishe ripugana जतक इंद्रिय गण केहू कारो बाध्य नाही हाय सुनिले ना सुने कान जानिले ना जाने प्राण दूयते ना पारे निश्चय दृढ़ाइते दृढ़ाइते ना पाए निश्चय. So this is slok number 20. Dehe boishe ripugana. So all the enemies they are residing within the body itself. Dehe boishe, boishe matlab bethe, sitting in the in the body itself. Ripugana, jatoko indriya gana, keho karo badhya nahi hoy. And they have captured all the senses. The senses that dwell in our bodies are so many enemies. The senses that dwell in our bodies are so many enemies, or rather, senses that dwell in our body, they are the repository or depository of all the enemies, because the enemies have captured enemies or the enemies have captured our senses. The senses should be engaged in the service of the Lord of the senses, correct? But if the enemies have become the lords of the senses, what will happen? So in continuation of Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate, where we are entangled is described in the Sloka. The senses that dwell in our bodies are so many enemies, or the resting place of so many enemies. Nobody obeys anyone. My ears hear but don't listen, and my heart knows but does not realize. They cannot become determined and fixed. Wow, can you imagine? Senses should be utilized in the service of the Lord of the senses, but the senses have been captured by the enemies. And now senses cannot be directed for the ultimate good. So these are the obstacles to bhajana. So in this Tripadi, Sri Nautam Das Thakur mentions the foremost obstacles that those who wish to commence bhajan face. Although mankind knows how beneficial bhajan is for the spiritual self, it is not able to proceed firmly on the path of devotion due to these obstacles. naturally. Papa, Papa definitely. What is definition of Papa? Spiritual definition of Papa, which causes, which blocks or creates an impasse or obstacle to attain our perfection. So these enemies in the form of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsya, the shadaripu, they are causing, our senses to commit unwanted or sinful activities. Although mankind has heard and seen everything about bhajan, it remains attached to sense objects and physical pleasures as if ignorant, and thus wastes its rare opportunity of human life, which is so suitable for bhajan. Discussing these obstacles, the blessed author says, Dehe boishe ripu gana jataka indriya gana kyoho karo badhya nahi hoy. The senses that dwell in our bodies are so many enemies. Nobody obeys anyone. Actually, the senses have been captured by the enemies, the Shadripus. So it appears that the senses have become enemies. Senses by themselves are not enemies, but senses in their natural or constitutional situation in Sarupta, they are meant to engage, meant to serve Krishna. Rishikena Rishikesa Sevanam Bhakti Uchyate. But in the conditioned state, the senses have been captured by the enemies. So the senses appear as enemies. Senses by themselves are not enemies. Depends on who rules over them. If they accept the rule or the service of the Lord of the senses, the real Lord of the senses is Krishna. But these Shadharipus have become the Lord of the senses. The senses that dwell in our bodies are so many enemies. Nobody obeys anyone. The six enemies, lust, anger, greed, delusion, pride, and envy, always dwell in the human body. The human race, which has fallen in the ocean of birth and death, has fallen into the powerful grip of these six crocodile-like enemies and is being constantly chewed and munched by them. 1 second. Now, this is the situation of the conditioned soul. And they are extremely powerful and stubborn under the influence of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mata, matsarya. So difficult, correct? Conditioned soul, under the force of these things, he thinks he's so powerful. He can do anything, but actually, he's just moving in the wrong direction through those, under the dictation of these enemies. Enemies. They are extremely powerful and stubborn. If the human senses become attached, attracted to mundane sounds, flavors, forms, etc., then the learning of the learned is lost, and the intelligence of the intelligent is lost. Wow. Buddhiman, however intelligent, however learned a person might be, the force of kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, so powerful that the learning of the learned is lost and the intelligence of the intelligence also. A person as a human being, he may think that he's very learned or very intelligent, but unless the senses have been fully engaged in the service of the Lord of the senses. There's a tremendous risk if we let them loose, if we don't. There's a possibility that these enemies, which have captured, which have got the rule over these senses, they will just cause havoc in our life. Then the learning of the learned is lost and the intelligence of the intelligence is lost. Humankind can never save itself from its grip. Humankind can never save itself, by himself. Only through satsang. Tato du sangam utsujya satsu sajjeta buddhiman santaha evasya chindyanti mano vyasanga mukti. How one actually becomes intelligent? What is the definition of intelligence? Given the multiple options, if one picks up the right one or the best option, he's called intelligent, correct? So in spiritual life also, we have multiple options in front of us. But if we are not distracted by the wrong options, we pick the right only. How it's possible? Only if we find our affinity, if we find our attachment in the association of a saintly person. What is the definition of saintly person? Because he is full-fledged Krishna conscious, or one who has made the absolute use of his intelligence or his options. So if one associates and follows the directions of a saintly person, then he will be able to make the best choice. And one who is able to make the best choice only can be called intelligent. Tato du sangam utsrijya. Satsu sajjeta, by becoming attached to the association of a pure devotee. Satsu sajjeta buddhiman. This is a definition of buddhiman by Krishna. Krishna is telling Uddhavji. Satsu sajjeta buddhiman. Who is intelligent in this world? Only one who is attached to a pure devotee. And when we become attached to, again that attachment, asakti, that is chitta deep, we appreciate somebody's association so much that incessantly, all the time, we remember that person and want to follow his directives. That way, our affinity or attraction or temptation or the force of previous sanskaras which pull us towards wrongdoing or something which is detrimental to our soul's ultimate interest, and which can cause further entanglement in our in this world. That tendency is completely uprooted. Tato dusangam. Dusangam means unwanted, or the things which will cause increase the misery. Dusangam. Dusanga. Our engrossment. Sangha means engrossment, attachment to the things which will make us miserable. Tato dusangam utsrijya. That tendency is the force of those tendencies of sanskaras. They will be completely uprooted unless they are uprooted, removed from the root. There is no end to it. And that is possible only when one becomes attached to a Satpurush, Santa, because his tendency from Dusanga is completely uprooted, correct? So one who is free can show or cause our freedom. You know, if a person who is not situated in absolute consciousness. Absolute means free from the influence of the three modes of material nature. Only by becoming attached or connected to such a person, we also stand a good chance. Full chance, actually, rather. Not good chance, full chance. Tato du sangam utsujya satsu sajjeta buddhiman. Santah, what will happen by that attachment? Santah eva asya chindanti. The saintly person, the pure devotee, certainly will remove asya chindanti mano vyasanga mukti bhi. By his powerful Vidyavati kathaon se, he will shred away all the excessive attachments in his mind, from his mind. So that's why, you know, the conditioned soul, the human race, even, because we are not talking about conditioned souls in other species of life. We are talking about the human race, because the transformation is possible, modification is possible only in a human being. Man, very definition of man is one who can be modified. One who cannot be modified is animal, na? So one who becomes modified is called a saint. Saint is also a human being. So what is the definition? One who has become modified, one who has transcended the influence of the three modes of material is a saint. And one who is transformable, one who can be transformed is called human being. To err is human, na? So one who makes a mistake, because we never think that dog makes a mistake. Do we ever say like the insect makes the snake makes a mistake, or tiger makes a mistake? No. So the concept of mistake is only in a civilized society where the rules and regulations are there, correct? So, so potentially we can become fully transformed to become a saint, and human life is given to us ultimately to become a saint. So we all have a common goal. It's not that a saint speaks and everybody just listens and remain ordinary. No, we cannot afford to remain ordinary. It's a curse. It's a curse which is lingering, has been lingering over since eternity. This is our opportunity and the best opportunity. We have come this far to discuss and contemplate about this subject matter. What else is needed? Just to capture this focus, absolutely. So the human race which has fallen in the ocean of birth and death has fallen into the powerful grip of these six crocodile-like enemies, and is being constantly chewed and munched by them. They are extremely powerful and stubborn. If the human senses become attracted to mundane sounds, flavors, forms, etc., then the learning of the learned is lost, and the intelligence of the intelligence is lost. We discussed the subject matter of who is intelligent. So humankind can never save itself from its grip on its own strength without satsang. Sri Arjuna asked Sri Krishna, Atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushah अनिच्छन अपि वाष्णेय बलादिव नियोजितः. Oh Krishna, why people, become forcibly engaged in sin, even outside their own will? Because in civilized society, we are educated what is right, what is wrong, what should be done, what should not be done. In spite of having that discretion, even outside their own will. हरे कृष्णा महाराज जी, क्या हो रहा है? मैं 1 घंटे बाद में आप 1 घंटे बाद मैं आपसे फोन करता हूँ. All right. Hare Krishna. So, when Arjuna asked this question, we are in Georgia, Waycross, Georgia. I will give you a call in 1 hour. Hare Krishna. Waycross, Georgia. Waycross, Georgia. I will give you a call in 1 hour. Hare Krishna. अभी सत्संग में है, क्लास में है. Okay. So when Arjuna is asking that through what are people forcibly engaged in sin, even outside their own will? This is the precarious situation. That outside their will, because they have this discretionary power, correct? In spite of having discretionary power, if they end up picking the wrong, going the wrong side, that's very precarious, no? So to this, Krishna answers, Kama eshe, Krodha eshe, Rajo Guna Samudbhava, Mahashanay Mahapapma, Vidyayam Iha Vairinam. Oh Arjuna, it is lust, it is anger, Kama eshe, Krodha eshe. They spring forth from the mundane mode of passion, are very difficult to satisfy and extremely horrible. Know them to be the enemies of the world. Wow. Some people take the word kama or lust simply to mean male-female entanglement. Means the desire of men and women to meet each other. And although this narrow interpretation or apparent, mostly, when the subject kama or lust comes, and although this narrow interpretation is certainly correct, in a broader sense, kama means desire for sense gratification of any. Kama means desire for sense gratification. Desire could also be just as much as pure devotees have desire for Krishna's satisfaction. Na? So conditioned soul has the desire for his own sense gratification. When these desires are obstructed or thwarted by anyone or anything, they turn into anger. These very desires, the calm converts into anger. So calm hi vikriti. When further, you can say vikriti. Vikriti means transformation. The kama, the strong desire of any sort, when blocked or thwarted by anyone, then the person becomes angry at that person. So when these desires are obstructed or thwarted, they turn into anger. Therefore, lust and anger are actually one. Therefore, the above mentioned verse is in the single tense, Kam Esha, Krodha Esha, although two things are mentioned in it. So, Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Madhvas, actually, they are the one. One is only Kam. It's a strong desire for sense gratification, which takes these manifestations. Kama converts into Krodha, and Krodha converts into Lobha. And it is described that 10 times more powerful than the previous, or double, depending on how much one thinks about the force of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha. It is greater in intensity, greater than Kama is Krodha, greater than Krodha is Lobha, greater than Lobha is Moha, mother in Matsarya. So we have discussed this previously. So they are like the different stages of cancer. Kama, general, desire for sense gratification, that itself is like a first stage cancer. It converts to krodha, it becomes second stage cancer. It goes to the lobha, third stage, moha, fourth stage, mada, fifth stage, and matsarya, sixth stage. Has anybody heard about sixth stage cancer? Out of reach, out of rescuing. You cannot rescue the person who is who's the disease, cancer disease has reached sixth stage. It has to be completely removed, correct? It has no cure. That's the Matsarya has no cure, but these Pancharipus, five ripus, their cure is will be described probably in the next sloka, which will be coming. But it says that not only anger, but also the other four enemies, greed, delusion, pride, and envy, are different forms of lust only. When that lust becomes attracted to the best enjoyable things, when that lust becomes attracted to the best enjoyable things, and the greatest wealth is, and the greatest wealth, it is called greed. So what is the definition of greed? It is only kama, the lust or the strong desire, when becomes attracted to the best enjoyable things and the greatest wealth, it is called greed. Greed means desire to get something so strongly. And when lusty desires make mankind attached to perishable and temporary matters, wow, attached to, this attachment is, so attachments are two kinds. Attachment is, one can be very attached to get something which he hasn't got it yet. And attachment also to things which one has already got. So there's subtle difference in English. In Hindi, there are two words, asakti and moha, because kam, krodha, lobha, moha. So moha is described. What is the difference between moha and asakti? Both are asakti, but moha is a attachment to those things which one has not got yet as yet. It's kind of it's called infatuation. Moha means infatuation, to get something which one is still hankering. Attachment is or asakti is for something which one already has it. So anyway, when lusty desires or the strong desire make someone attached to perishable and temporary matters that stop them from realizing their constitutional position, in the stage of moha or asakti, one just forgets about anything else. This attachment or this moha is very, very powerful thing. One cannot think of anything else. One becomes completely blind to one's real ultimate interest, because their attachment to perishable and temporary matters that stop them from realizing their constitutional position, or if it covers over their spiritual knowledge, it is called moha or delusion. Then again, if this delusion or ignorance assumes the form of self-esteem, like, I'm a rich man, people are very proud, very attached to their glamour or their beauty or their knowledge or whatever they so strongly identify with. I am an honorable man. Then this is called mother or pride. If this self-esteem considers that, somebody may have self-esteem that I'm a millionaire, but if he comes across someone richer than him, then he cannot stand his glory. If the self-esteem considers that the wealth and reputation of others crushes the pride of his own, then that kind of agitation of the heart or intolerance is called Matsarya. Parotkarsham asahanam Matsaryam. The definition of Matsarya is Parautkarsham, to see somebody situated superior, in superior position. Somebody's reputation, somebody's fortune, somebody's beauty or strength or knowledge in every field. If a very learned person who is so reputed in his in his circle, and if he finds that somebody has become more learned person in his village or in his then he just cannot stand. The glory of the other person is greater. So that is called Matsarya. Because his self-esteem considers that the wealth and reputation of others crushes the pride of him, then that agitation of the mind or heart is called Matsarya. Parashri Katarta, or envy. So in envy also there are two aspects. One is Irsha and Dvesha. Dvesha means to cause harm to the others, those who are. We cannot stand the more glorious position of others. Somehow they go to hell, or they become banished, or, so that nobody stands in competition with me. So that kind of a negative thought is called envy. But there is Irsha. Irsha has two aspects. Irsha means jealousy. One can be jealous of the fortune of others. That doesn't mean that he wants that person go to hell. No. But one wishes that I can have the same fortune. It's like when we go in travel, we come across many wonderful buildings. I say, wow, such a wonderful building. We wish we could have for Krishna, really. So that's called positive jealousy. To have the same fortune or same glories for Krishna. Why not? If people make big buildings for their own sense gratification, why can't we build big temples for Krishna? So that jealousy is positive jealousy, but the jealousy on the material platform, we just we lose our comfort if we become jealous of someone. Like Shakespeare says, especially amongst the women, jealousy, thy name is woman. So the jealousy is natural in the conditioned state to the wrong end, but on the spiritual platform, we can have desire for Krishna, to have better for the glorification of Krishna. So this is an extremely vile and disgusting mentality and forms the greatest obstacle to bhakti or bhajana. That will become specifically clear later. So in this way, the six enemies that are such sturdy obstacles to the practice of bhajan and concomitant realization of the constitutional self of the living entities, that are actually Sri Krishna's eternal servants, constitutionally we all are. So the six enemies, they are such sturdy obstacles to the practice of bhajana. And obstacles to the practice of bhajan and concomitant realization of the constitutional nature of self of the living entities that are actually Sri Krishna's eternal servants. So this understanding is baffled, blocked. And these enemies reside within the human body, particularly within the knowledge acquiring senses and active senses. Service rendered to Krishna, Rishikesh, who is the Lord of the senses, the Lord of the senses, is called devotion. That has been elaborately described in the commentary on the previous Tripadi. The senses of the conditioned souls that are averse to Sri Krishna, the senses of the conditioned souls that are averse to Sri Krishna since time immemorial. Our senses have, in the conditioned state, they have been averse to Sri Krishna since time immemorial, are naturally inclined towards the sense objects. The eyes are absorbed in seeing senses of worldly beauty. The ears are thirsty to hear the world's greatest songs as well as nonsensical gossip. The tongue is greedy after the savor of the greatest sweets. Nose is eager to smell the most exquisite scents, and the skin is very eager to touch the softest and most blissful objects. The active senses are as much absorbed in enjoying their favorite sense objects as the knowledge acquiring senses are. The active senses are as much absorbed in enjoying their favorite sense objects as the knowledge acquiring senses are. The speech is engaged in speaking worldly topics and gossip. The hands and feet are expert in performing all kinds of worldly duties, and the genitals are absorbed in enjoying yonavritti. From beginningless time, the senses of the conditioned souls who are averse to Sri Krishna have been floating on a current, on a wave, towards the sense objects. And the strikes of these enemies like lust, and the strikes or the attack, onslaught, strike of these enemies like lust that reside within the body has increased their speed and power. So these enemies, they reside on the senses, no? And senses have now lost the direction of the soul. Just imagine what becomes the condition of the soul. So through this satsang, what you have to capture, that what is the position of the soul? Anybody can say? In our existence, we are comprising this gross visible material body, senses, and the subtle body, mana buddhi, mind, intelligence, ego and subconscious mind, chitta, and the soul proper. So what is the position of the soul? It is because of the soul everything else has any value. The most valuable thing is the soul. So soul's position is like the king. But have we considered the soul as the king? What happens? The soul, the king, has to be in command. And who are the soldiers of the king? The body, the senses, the mind, the intelligence, the ego, subconscious mind. Everything is meant to serve the king, serve the best interest of the king. Now, if the king becomes lethargic, if the king becomes careless and just leaves the rule of the kingdom of this body or his existence in the hands of his minister, what happens? If the ministers take over, the king will have to suffer. The king will lose his potential to reach the perfection of his human potential. So in the conditioned state, it is just like that. So the soul has lost his status as a king and has allowed those who are sub or under him, the ministers and sub-ministers, senses, mind, intelligence, he has allowed them to rule over him. So it has become reverse. The king should rule over the citizens. Now the citizens and subordinates are ruling the master. That is the position of a conditioned soul. So since time immemorial, The senses of the conditioned souls who are averse to Sri Krishna have been floating on a current towards the sense objects, and the strikes of these enemies like lust that reside within the body has increased their speed and power. So senses have been captured by these enemies. Now they don't listen. They don't listen. They don't cater to the real need of the soul. When the strikes of these enemies attract the human mind, when the strikes of these enemies, Kam, Krodho, etc., attract the human mind towards the field of sense objects, then even the mind of an intelligent, discriminating, Viveki person will not be able to block this indomitable attraction. Wow. Under the influence of lust, who can stop, who can block his going towards the object of the lust? As a result, keho karo badhya nahi hoy. Nobody obeys anyone. The enemies like lust do not obey the senses. The enemies like lust do not obey the senses, rather they rule the senses. They take them away. The senses do not obey the mind of the discriminating person, and the mind also does not obey the intelligence. In this way, the independent and unsubmissive enemies and the senses have been dancing within the consciousness of the conditioned soul. Upadrav तांडव मचा दिया है. Tandav. Nobody can, they have become so unruly, rather, to say. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Arjuna, Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param manasastus manasas manasasas manasasas manasastu para buddhir यह परसस्तु यह सह एवं बुद्धे परम बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानम आत्मना जहि शत्रु महाबाहु काम रूपम दुरासदम. Bhagavad Gita 3.42-43. Very wonderful instruction by Krishna. O Arjuna, it is said that the senses are higher than the body. Senses are higher than the body. The mind is higher than the senses. So it's like you can say that senses over the body or mind over the senses. The intelligence is higher than the mind, means intelligence over the mind, and the soul is even higher than the intelligence. The soul is ultimately the king, correct? Same principle is described by Krishna also. Soul is even higher than the intelligence. The soul has to rule over the intelligence also. But the reverse has happened. So, since reverse has happened, what is the solution? So there is a question asked sometimes. It is the mind over the senses or senses over the mind? What is the rule? The question is, how should we deal with the situation in the conditioned state? How to purify our entanglement with this mind and senses, the sadhaka especially. How to re-establish ourselves in the proper position. How we should address this issue. How should we appreciate? How should we accept? Should we accept mind over the senses or senses over the mind? Who rules what? Do the senses rule the mind or the mind rules the senses? Someone say, oh, I'm strong-minded, and so with a strong mind I can rule over my senses. So is it mind over the senses or the senses over the mind? People may think, that it is the mind over the senses. But the mind, however strong it might be, the senses will pull him down. You know, if one does not follow the restrictions, and if one just thinks that I'm strong-minded, I can eat anything, I can go anywhere, I can do anything because I'm strong-minded. So that approach is very dangerous. Rather, one should engage the senses in order to capture the mind. For the soul, we means the soul. Soul means the person, one who takes the action. So we should engage the senses in the service of the Lord of the senses to serve the purpose of the soul properly. But if one thinks that, oh, I can do anything because I'm strong-minded, mind will be lost. Mind will not be able to control itself if the senses are left astray, going in different directions. Mind will be, you know, any of the senses. When the ride is available, correct. When the options is, eyes want to see this, nose wants to smell that, and ears want to hear this, and mind, it won't remain strong enough when he will have the temptation to get 5 rights at a point, correct. If we have multiple temptations of different, mind just needs one ride and it is gone. So can the mind sustain the temptation of the 5 senses going in different directions? So one should not be so proud or so of one's mind or strong mind. Rather, one should engage the senses to capture the mind, control the mind, navigate the mind in the right direction. And the soul is even higher than the intelligence. O mighty armed one, knowing thus that the soul exceeds the intelligence, the soul rules over the intelligence. Ascertain yourself through yourself. In other words, realize that you are Krishna's eternal servant and that your body and your senses are simply illusory designations. Thus, you can conquer the indomitable enemy called lust. Such are the teachings of the scriptures and the great teachers. The living entity is Krishna's eternal servant, whose only duty is to serve Krishna. The body and its belongings and relatives are the gift of Maya that have nothing to do with the real identity or the purpose of the soul. The establishment of self-identification. See, a very amazing thing. The body and its belongings and relatives are the gift of Maya that have nothing to do with the real identity or serve the purpose of the soul. The establishment of self-identification with these false designations is the cause of bondage. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kaviyo vidu. This identification or attachment to these false designations is a cause of bondage. And the renunciation of such self-identifications are the cause of liberation. But how one will be able to renounce something which is so, one is engrossed and attached to? There needs some replacement, correct? The object of attachment has to be replaced. So Bhagavatam says, Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavyo vidu. The greatest bondage for the soul is to have its deep, engrossing attachment to the this material world, of different sense objects or different things. But when same attachment applied to a saintly person, sa eva sadhushu krito mokshadvaram pavritam. So the replacement is there, but what will cause from conditioned state of attachment, engrossing attachment to this material world and worldly relations, what will cause the replacement of that attachment to the saintly person? Only through satsang. Na? And satsang alone pleases Krishna the most, because Krishna says, Mad Bhakta Pujyabhidika. So when one becomes involved through the association of the pure devotees, to the level of becoming attached to him, and in attachment, so what kind of attachment? Attachment that one perceives the worshipful in the love. Attachment causes two things to happen. When we become attached to someone, we feel like worshipping the person and also loving. So both things. So Krishna says, Mad Bhakta Pujyabhedika. I consider the worship and dedication or devotion to my devotee greater than my own devotion. So one who becomes engaged and becomes attached and devoted to Krishna's devotee, then Krishna becomes more pleased or more blessing. Then someone becomes attached to him. So that's the secret of success of this Bhagavad culture. How to attain perfection of our human potential. This is the way. So just as the establishment of self-identification with these false designations is the cause of bondage, and the renunciation of such self-identifications are the cause of liberation. What is a replacement? Replacement to the saintly person. Although the ears hear these teachings hundreds of times, they do not listen. Rather, they run after topics that are unrelated to Krishna. The mind is constantly accepting and rejecting different mundane things. The heart is willingly and knowingly unmoved by all these teachings. The restless human mind will not firmly remember that the only supreme truth is God, and the only means to attain him is devotion. Shuni lena shune kaan, jani lena jane pran. Dridhate na pare nischay. My ears hear, but don't listen. In my heart knows, but does not realize. They cannot become determined and fixed. So we can stop here today. Thank you for your patient listening. Now we can have some interaction. If anybody has any question, comment, or anything they want to.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Was I speaking or it was muted? Did I?
Hare Krishna Shri Guru.
Yes.
Pranam Shri Guru.
Hare Krishna. Say Swami.
Amazing, wonderful satsang Shri Guru. Your satsang are the time of the week which brings Vaicharik Viplav in our thoughts. Your satsangs are something which brings revolution in our thoughts. And every time we listen, Shri Guru, we are always mesmerized, and the subject matter you take and you explain every time, it is amazing, Shri Guru. I have a question, Shri Guru, that when we come into Krishna consciousness, we theoretically understand Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati. And we understand this Prasanga Majaram Pasham, that all the material things, they are the cause of biggest attachment for a conditioned soul. So how come, Shiguru, we are not able to leave these material things and move towards sadhu sang, move towards attaching ourselves to a sadhu? Hare Krishna, Shiguru.
So that's why it's not easy, no? It's a rare phenomenon. If the happening could be as simple as the words, then everybody would have made it. No? So, but at least the principle is established. Yes, until that happens, we are stuck. We are still stuck to the wrong end. The only way to reach the fulfillment, our human potential, only first identifying a person who has made it. How can you, if you meet a Narad Muni, how can you leave him? Correct? So, so the onus is on the sadhaka. One has to recognize. One has to. One has to uh, realize his Narad Muni in his life, in his personal life. Narad Muni is a title. Narad Muni is also a person, but Narad is also Narada. Narad means spiritual knowledge. The means one who bestows. So one who has caused our spiritual enlightenment, and if the spiritual enlightenment remains incessantly, it is called spiritual awakening. A spiritually awakened person can think of nothing else is really important. Then his total focus, it's some people have this after death experience. They were declared dead, and after a few minutes or few hours, somehow the life came back, and they had the experience. They went to different places like this. When they come back, my God, what we have to accomplish. So there is existence beyond this realm, beyond the experience of this realm. So where we want to end up eventually, we have to work out. So an unawakened person can unfortunately remains oblivious, careless to his ultimate potential. But an awakened person, or the associates of a fully awakened person soul, will also cause our becoming fully awakened. So yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi means how much we value the status of the person we associate or we come across ultimately. We heard about the stories of Narad Muni. Anybody who associated and got direction from Narad Muni, he attained the supreme, correct? That is our firm faith. Then, are we not in search of a Narad Muni in our lives? Our personalized Narad Muni in our lives. So depending on this principle holds truth. Yadrishi Shraddha. And Shraddha we discussed different levels of Shraddha. Intellectual Shraddha, at the level of ego. Ego deep Shraddha is Ruchi, and subconscious Chitta deep Shraddha is Asakti. When the Shraddha reaches the stage of Asakti, then you cannot go back. That's when you realize the most blessedness of the person, because asakti is always singular. Asakti can be only in one person, simultaneously cannot be in more than one person. That means it has gone chitta deep. So when the attachment or attraction, appreciation, appraisal of a saintly person reaches or goes chitta deep, that's when you cannot not associate with that person any moment, incessantly, and then your consciousness has become transformed, transcendentalized, because the saintly person who has transcended the three modes of material nature, and if one has become attached to that person, then one will not do anything against his direction or against his wish. So that way one can uproot all the otherwise many forces of the sanskaras in time, place, and circumstances. So one needs a tremendous this bond of attachment to a saintly person, and that is the only means. Even if one tries to attach to Krishna directly through so many engagement and different things, but Krishna says, I will allow attachment to me only by following my direction. What is Mad Bhakta Pujya Vidika? I consider the worship of my devotee greater than my worship. So if neglecting the worship of Krishna's pure devotee, if Krishna wants, one tries to worship Krishna only directly, Krishna may not be as much pleased. So if you want, even if one targets to attain Krishna's mercy or kripa, Krishna is showing the way, the certain way, surest way is to identify at least someone, one person, as a pure devotee, dedicate the life and come to the level of asakti to such a person. Perceive him as your Prabhupada, your Narad Muni, your whatever. So attachment is such a spiritual attachment, especially on this path of pure devotional service. The pure devotee who we become attached to is perceived as the consolidation of all the pure devotees. Then we find our absolute dedication and devotion to such a person. And then eventually we also become a pure devotee. So this is the potency of pure devotee. Even if one associates with Krishna 24/7, one cannot become Krishna, correct? Does one associate with Krishna to become Krishna? No, no, cannot become. But only by associating fully. Associate means Sangha, and when Sangha becomes Prasanga means Asakti. Asakti Purna Sangha, Prakrishna Rupena Sangam. Then that attachment converts the person also into a pure devotee. That is the potency of associating with a pure devotee. The purpose of life, the, the, the highest perfection of our human potential will be caused only by attaining such a deep association or attachment of a pure devotee. That will do it. So, dedicating one's life, dedication leads to devotion. That's the direct answer to your question. So, if we dedicate our life under the direction of a pure devotee, then Guru Maharaj used to say 5 years would be a good. 5 years one unconditionally dedicate one's life under the direction of a pure devotee, then it should lead to devotion. Now you cannot disassociate yourself from that. And that is what one wants to achieve. And attachment means prasangam, strong attachment. Ajaram pasham. Ajar means very strong. That is the key. Dedication will lead to devotion. So even if you don't have attachment at present, if you dedicate and follow under the directions of pure devotee, then it will definitely make us also a pure devotee. Pure devotee is a very sublime concept. Whatever others or ideals we have learned, and we will find, manifest in the life of a person. But our tendency, our vision should be to appreciate someone's most blessedness, so much so that we cannot uh, we cannot see any fault or any drawbacks or shortcoming in the person. But that is only possible at the stage of asakti. In our general experience also, when a person becomes attached to someone, it becomes difficult to see any faults or drawbacks in the person. Everything about the person one likes, on the level of attachment. Everything about the person is appreciable. Correct? So we must pray that we can have that much faith, chitta deep faith or asakti in a Mahat Purush to cause the full transformation of our consciousness also. Hare Krishna. All right. Time is up.
Yes, Shri Guru. Hare Krishna. Harsh Prabhu, you can unmute and
Hare Krishna Maharaj, in the lecture you said that like within Braj, even within Braja, our target is to fulfill Manovishta of Mahaprabhu, which is to attain Radha Dasyam. So my question was like, did Mahaprabhu only came to give Madhuri Rasa or Radha Dasyam? Because we see in his Leela also there were many devotees who were in different rasa at that time. So I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, that was available. That the eternal associates of Mahaprabhu, uh, if they are situated in that particular rasa, that is all right. But he wants everyone to appreciate that Madhurya rasa. He himself also experienced the joy of being a maid servant of the divine couple. In his Gambhira and Lila, he was engaged in meditating how Radha Krishna with us Sakhis, they are entering the grove, and the Sakhis asked him to pick up the flowers for Radha Krishna's seva and all these things. So that also Mahaprabhu experienced the joy. So he himself experienced it, and that's why he wanted to bestow it, because this is Anugatyamai seva. In the gopis and sakhis seva of the divine couple is Swatantramai. But Anugatyamai seva, everybody has. Now your question is, the others are engaged in different rasa, but there is available. Mahaprabhu wants to make everyone experience that Madhuri rasa of Radha Dasyam. And this will is expressed by him even that Advaita Acharya also, you know, Mahaprabhu revealed to Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya said, yes, this is what you want to give to everyone. So somehow, in some capacity, it would be made available for everyone. But still, there's no force. But those who really appreciate the Mahaprabhu's Manobhishta, he really wants everyone to experience it. Just as Lord Balaram, now how Balaramji experiences Madhurya's, he is not able to, in Braja Leela, he is not able to experience his service. Balaramji is Seva Tattva, na? Sevak Tattva. And Madhurya Seva, it is not possible for him, but in Chaitanya Leela, like he is Nityananda Prabhu and Jahnava Devi, who is Ananga Manjari in Krishna Leela. So Ananga Manjari, she is a Manjari, you know. She is very much experiencing the Manjari bhav, and so as an associate, when Nityananda Prabhu, Balramji became Nityananda Prabhu and consort, his consort Jahnava Devi, Ananga Manjari. So through Jahnava Devi, or through that Ananga Manjari, becoming his consort in Chaitanya Lila, he also experienced the joy of Manjari Bhava. In that regard, of course, certain devotees, eternal associates of Lord in different rasa, for them also to appreciate the superior portion of those who are in the Manjari Bhava. That was the purpose of Mahaprabhu's establishing. But their position is, they are fully situated in that particular rasa, you know, like Mother Yashoda or Nanda Baba or different associates of the Lord. Their position is like their shape has already taken. They have attained their eternal melo with the Lord in one of the prasads. Our position is like raw mud. You know. We can definitely be given a particular shape. So everyone in this material world, because we have been growing in our sadhana and different directions, we take different teachings of different acharyas, different sampradayas, and that's why we have yet to attain the highest perfection of our human potential. So at no stage or whatever sampradaya, whatever lineage one might be, if one comes across the proposal of Mahaprabhu to attain Radha Dashyam, she will be tempted to attain that status. Yeah, so we are very specific. Within Braja Bhakti, we want Nikunja Mandir Bhakti of the divine couple. In Nikunja Mandir, even Sakhis don't enter. They leave it for the Kinkaris, because Kinkaris are so devoted to Radharani, and they are the manifestation of Radharani's bhava. Radharani ke bhav ki spurti hai. They are the spurti means manifestation. So even in their confidential or in their intimate time of the divine couple together, if some service is needed, without disturbing or without causing any disturbance to the divine couple, and divine couple also don't feel any sankoch, any hesitation in their presence. So that fortune of able to see and deal with the divine couple is very, very is the highest. Is the highest portion for a soul, in accordance to one's Swarup, is the eternal servant of Krishna. So attaining Radha Rashyam is the highest level of attaining the fortune of seva. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
All right, then. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Shri Guru. Pranams.
Hare Krishna, welcome.
Thank you so much again for such a transcendental, incredibly relishable satsang. Always leaves me hankering for more and excited for the next one. So a contemplation that I've been having is the way that I was raised is very much to follow authority, almost to the point of being told how I should feel, what I should think, being almost dictated to what I am. And so it feels, now I'm experiencing something interesting where it feels like it's almost wrong to take more personal autonomy over how I want to show up in the world and where I want to go. And this really, the contemplation has been coming with regards to contemplating Manjari Bhav. It's been something in my awareness for many years, but would it be right in thinking that this conditioning that I have been experiencing about just following authority could perhaps be an obstacle to me going further, and perhaps it's important for me to take a responsibility in a choice about where I want to go and my destination, because that kind of feels almost like a bit of a naughty girl sort of thought. But yeah, I feel like I'm on a bit of a threshold and I want to choose, but I need to know that that's okay.
Definitely. When we become educated, correct? By becoming educated, we come to this discretion, vivek, which direction to move, correct? Our progressiveness is defined by the direction we take through education. And that's the purpose of education, to evolve in our choice making. In the name of progressiveness also, we have to move for the better. And if the moving in the better direction, if the choice becomes Sri Radha Dashyam, what could be more pleasing? Correct? So naturally our upbringing and training to always follow the authority. So we identify as we grow who we want to follow, our authority, how much faith we have in them at the mind level, at the intelligence level, at the ruchi level, ego level, and ultimately at the subconscious mind level, chitta level. So when your faith in authority reaches chitta level, then you will let go other authorities anyway. You cannot follow more than one at one time simultaneously, correct? You cannot follow more than one anyway. So the choice should be very, so depending on how deeply we are attracted to one authority over others, so the choice would be easy. If the attraction to one authority is not stronger, if it is stronger over others, then it's an easy choice, correct? We'll be pulled towards that authority. But if our faith in some authority is not that strong, then we may be sometimes okay, 50-50 like this. But to go full force, we have to prioritize. We have to give number one priority to one thing. We cannot remain in 50-50. We cannot keep our 2 feet in 2 different boats. Eventually, sooner the better, that we move in one direction, not in conflicting directions. We cannot follow more than one authority properly, moving forward. 2 authorities moving in different directions, we cannot follow, correct? We cannot put our footage into 2 different boats. That's it. Got it?
Thank you, Shri Guru. Hare Krishna.
Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All right, Kirtani Sadari. How is Natali doing?
Hare Krishna, Shri Guru, Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, your classes, your satsang, your association, it puts life into a perspective, and it just shows us a goal, growing up or just speaking to others, living with others. So many goals in life are there. Everyone follows a different goal. So many competing goals as well. Everyone thinks they know what success is. But you show us what proper success is, and at the same time you make it possible for us to achieve that success by your mercy. Hare Krishna.
Well, it's an equal opportunity for everyone. No? What we are apparently speaking is not actually instructing to others. It is instructing to oneself also. We are all getting instructed. No? Our teachers, our great stalwarts, Shad Goswami's, Mahaprabhu's teachings for all of us. So, individually and collectively, we can boost our enthusiasm and the readiness and commitment and conviction that we are sharing the same aspiration in our heart. We are carrying the same aspiration in our heart. So we all have equal opportunities, but equal opportunity sometimes is also professed in the material world, on the material platform also. So there's some propagandas to give equal opportunity to everybody, no discrimination of gender or age or different like this. But we go one step further. Not only equal opportunities for every human soul sadhaka, but everybody is going to achieve the same fortune. How is it possible? Because that fortune is unlimited. It is not just like in the material world. Only one person can get the highest status or gold medal. But on this path, for everyone, only a gold medal is awaiting. This concept must be very much contemplated upon. The fortune which Mahaprabhu exposed is unlimited, and it is available fully for everyone. Equal opportunities and equal highest perfection. Not that only one can get a gold medal, second has to. There is no second on this path. In the perfection of this path, there is no second. There is no silver medal, no bronze medal, or no consolation. Just it's only a gold medal. This concept was never exposed. This is a concept exposed by Mahaprabhu. Gold medal awaiting all of us. Equal opportunity and equal fortune for all of us. Then who we will envy? Who will want to self-promote oneself? On this path, there is no iota of time and space left for self-motivation, self-promotion. Self-promotion will cause self-centeredness and one becomes deprived. So what people are so used to in the material platform or material realm, they are totally negated, totally to be avoided on this path. Only by promoting others, only by appreciating others, only by seeing others as more special, we become promoted. There is a saying that हरि भक्ति भंडार की बड़ी अनोखी बात, ज्यों ज्यों खर्चे त्यों बढ़े, बिन खर्चे घट जाए. So this path of Raganuga Bhakti, this Krishna consciousness, is like a treasure. It's like approaching the treasure, attaining the treasure, feeling the treasure, unlimited treasure. If one connects to or becomes connected to unlimited treasure, does he or she worry about losing or getting stolen or anything like that? No, because it is unlimited. It is inexhaustible. That much fascination, that much appreciation we must have. This what we are approaching is inexhaustible. So we can have thousands in the whole world, everybody join this and go for the gold medal. Who is stopping them? It is gold medal for us also, for them and everyone else. So that concept has to be propagandized. Then who we will envy? Envy comes na. Parotkarsham asahnam matsaryam. We end up envying someone when we think that somebody is going to get, or somebody got a greater fortune, or somebody is going to get a greater fortune. But on this path, everybody attains a choicest Kankaratva of Srimati Radhika Rani. So Parakashta Seva, the Ekadash Bhava of Manjari Bhava, that everybody attains the same fortune as Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari. They are not keeping something just for themselves, exclusive. Now everybody gets the same fortune, same antaranga bhava, or the confidentiality. Everybody becomes blessed with the absolute confidentiality of Srimati Radhika Rani, Radharani. So then we can appreciate each other, correct? I give the concept of, if there is a conference of all the gold medalists, do they envy each other, or they marvel each other's success? You made it, you made it, you made it, in different variety of ways. Everybody reached the top. So we are targeting the highest. Every one of us will reach the highest. And there is no conflict of interest, because highest can be multiple also. Thank you. Continue your absorption, contemplation, and sustain the fervor, and always self-challenge yourself to always move forward. We have still a long way to go. But that should not discourage us, but rather the conviction of certainty of attaining our highest perfection of human potential will keep us always motivated. Hare Krishna, yes.
Pranam, Pranam Shri Guru, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I want to say something. Can I?
Of course.
First, it's a wonderful sharing, And the topic, as I heard that, I just am thinking and thinking, your grace alone can cleanse my heart, removing every fault, every offense, and can make my soul pure, so that my Shri Guru Rup Swamini, my Swamini, may live in this heart, and this heart will become like a temple. I just want to sing some lines. You are my temple, you are my worship, you are my Swamini. If someone could look through these eyes of mine, they would behold Swamini shining through your form. Every word that blossoms from your lotus mouth is the sacred scripture of my life. Within your lotus feet, I find boundless ocean of nectar. The touch of Swamini's own lotus feet. I am but a little doll of clay, yet you came in my life to become my life. Empty is this whole world without you. Shunnaitam jagat sarvam Govinda virahinami. Through you alone can devotion awaken in my heart. I cannot remember Swamini without first remembering you. For hidden within remembrance of you is the remembrance of Swamini. Grant me the service of your lotus feet. This alone is my heart's deepest prayer. My only longing, forever and ever and ever. Thank you, word. It's never ever sufficient. But thank you so much, Shri Guru, for everything, for coming in my life, for giving me the fortune that I can see you, I can hear you. It's really a greatest test, a biggest test fortune for me. And it's a mercy of love, of Lord, which comes in form of you. Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We will all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times with honor and love for our Gurudev.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
From our hearts, we'll call out Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shat Shri Swamini Kripa Murti, Shri Srimad His Divine Grace, Shri Bhakti Swarup Govind Maharaj ki
Jai.
निताई भक्तविंद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल।
Pranam Shri Guru, Hare Krishna. Pranam Shri Guru.
Everybody looks jollier, correct? Jollier than yesterday, jollier than moment. All right, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol, and we will meet you all in less than 2 hours in Kirtan.
हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम गुरुदेव।
Hare Krishna, welcome Sri Swamini Mate Astu. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Shri Guru.
Now Shri Guru, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, welcome Sri Gaur.
Hare Krishna, Sri Guru Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, welcome Sri Swamini Mate Astu, everyone. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All right then. Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Hari. Oh.